Money does not run to the frantic mind. It does not rush toward the one who trembles in fear. It listens for the steady heartbeat of peace. It moves toward the soul that stands firm in faith. In the silence of calmness, money hears its name being called, not with desperation, but with authority. And it comes. Worry is a thief that wears the mask of logic. It whispers, "What if it doesn't work?" It paints shadows where light should be. And when the mind bows to worry, it builds invisible walls that abundance cannot cross. Those who live in constant fear of lack push prosperity further away with every anxious breath. But those who rest in peace, even when the world trembles, open doors no force can shut. Money does not answer panic. It answers faith. It flows to the one who knows that divine supply is unlimited, unshaken, unbroken. A calm mind is a clear channel. It does not cry out for proof. It declares that the blessing is already here. It does not run after wealth. It magnetizes it. It becomes the lighthouse that money recognizes from afar. Peace is not the absence of challenges. It is the presence of trust. Trust that what belongs to you cannot be taken away. Trust that what is meant for you will arrive right on time. Trust that no storm can shake the foundation of divine abundance. A worried mind looks at the storm and sees disaster. A calm mind looks at the same storm and sees opportunity. It does not drown in doubt. It walks on water. A calm mind hears whispers others miss. When the world is loud with fear, peace hears divine guidance, a nudge, a sign, a perfect idea. Calmness sharpens your intuition. It is in the stillness that solutions are revealed, doors are opened, and ideas that create wealth are born. Worry blocks inspiration like a heavy fog, but peace clears the sky so abundance can land. Money is not just paper, it is energy, and energy responds to energy. If your inner world vibrates with fear, scarcity reflects back. But if your soul radiates calm strength, money feels safe in your presence. It gravitates towards stability. It follows the current of trust. It settles where it is honored, not chased. When you rest in the knowing that you are provided for, creativity awakens. You begin to see ways to multiply, to build, to grow. You no longer grasp at opportunities. You create them. You no longer fight for a seat at the table. You build your own. Calmness is not weakness. It is quiet power. Worry speaks in a shaky voice, "Please come." Calm faith speaks in a commanding tone, "You belong here." And money recognizes the difference. It runs from desperation, but bows to authority rooted in peace. The calm mind is not passive. It is power contained, focus directed, faith embodied. It is the steady river that carves through rock, not through force, but through persistence and grace. In that calmness, doors swing open, paths are made straight. Abundance flows like water to where it is welcomed. So quiet the noise, silence the panic. Let your heart be still, for stillness is not emptiness. It is power. And in that sacred calm, money finds its way to you, not because you begged, not because you chased, but because you became the very place it longs to call home. Inner calm is a magnet for prosperity because true wealth is drawn to stillness like rivers to the sea. When the mind is anxious, it becomes a storm that pushes opportunities away. But when the mind is calm, it becomes a harbor that invites abundance to rest the world around us, mirrors the energy we carry inside, and money, like every other form of energy, responds to the vibration of peace, not panic. The person who stands anchored in quiet confidence does not need to chase money because money begins to chase them. Peace is not a fragile thing. It is not weakness. It is strength wrapped in silence. It is the still center of a spinning world where all power gathers when your heart is steady and your thoughts are clear. The universe hears a steady call and answers it without hesitation. Imagine two voices, one shouting in fear and the other speaking softly in trust. The one shouting only creates echoes, but the one whispering in calm is heard. The loudest money is like a bird. It will not land on trembling hands. It looks for steady ground. It looks for safety. It looks for energy that does not grasp or clutch or demand. It looks for energy that simply is calmness, is that steady ground. Peace is that open palm. When your inner world is calm, You stop sending signals of lack and start radiating signals of enough. And when you radiate enough, the world reflects more than enough back to you. Prosperity is not drawn to the person who runs in circles, panicking about bills, about the future, about how it will happen. Prosperity flows to the one who stands still in trust, because standing still is not the same as doing nothing. It is the art of being ready to receive. It is the posture of a soul that knows everything it needs is already making its way toward it. A calm mind becomes like a lighthouse. It does not chase the ships, it does not swim in the dark ocean. It simply stands shining its light, and the ships find their way home to it. That is what money does when it senses the vibration of calm. It finds its way home. The power of inner calm is not built overnight. It is born from the decision. Trust, it is born from the choice to let go of fear. It is born from the belief that abundance is not outside waiting to be chased, but inside waiting to be allowed. When the heart is calm, it aligns with the deeper rhythm of life, and life itself begins to deliver without struggle. The anxious mind clenches its fists, it holds tightly in fear, and in doing so blocks the flow. But the calm mind opens its hands and receives without force. Money cannot hear panic. It can only hear faith. Panic is like noise, static confusion. Faith is like a clear signal. It travels far, it is heard clearly, and it brings a response that is undeniable. People who live in worry often think they are being practical, but in truth they are creating invisible barriers. They build walls around their blessings without even knowing it. They push prosperity away with every fearful thought. But those who live in calm are like magnets. The energy they carry whispers to the universe, I am ready. And the universe listens when your inner state is peaceful. Opportunities seem to appear as if by magic, but it is not magic. It is alignment. The calm mind is sharp. It sees what fear blinds you from. It hears what panic drowns out. It notices the door that was always there but invisible to worried eyes. It is in this clarity that prosperity finds room to breathe, to grow, to multiply. When you are calm, you are no longer repelling money with doubt. You are inviting it with certainty, and money loves certainty. It loves a space that feels safe to settle in. The truth is that calmness speaks louder than words. People who are calm about money often receive more of it, not because they are better or luckier, but because they are not choking the flow of energy. They do not send out signals of need, they send out signals of assurance. They trust the invisible current that carries resources, opportunities, and blessings. Their calmness makes them magnetic. They are not running after the world is moving toward them. In this state of inner peace, even your actions change. You make wiser decisions, you hear intuitive guidance more clearly, you see new possibilities. Your steps become aligned, not frantic. You are no longer acting out of fear, you are acting out of power. This is why calmness is a magnet for prosperity. It is not passive, it is powerful. It is the quiet force that moves mountains, not through effort, but through alignment. A person with a calm mind walks into the room with quiet authority, and the energy shifts. People feel it, they trust it, they are drawn to it. Money responds the same way. It recognizes the vibration of peace as a home frequency. It is not looking for noise, it is looking for stability. It is looking for a place to flow without resistance. And when you cultivate inner calm, you become that place. Calmness tells the universe, I believe, I am provided, for I trust the flow, I am not afraid. And this belief, this trust becomes a magnet. Prosperity is drawn to certainty like bees to nectar, and you become a living magnet for wealth, not because you forced it, but because you became the still water where everything gathers. Calmness is your greatest currency. It is worth more than the loudest struggle, more than the hardest chase, more than the most frantic effort, because effort without alignment is just noise. But calmness with trust is power that moves worlds. When you choose calmness, you no longer speak the language of lack. You speak the language of abundance. Your thoughts stop screaming please and begin whispering welcome, and money understands welcome. It recognizes it, it flows to it without hesitation. A calm mind is a mind that knows it is worthy, a mind that knows it is already connected to infinite supply. It does not need to prove anything, it does not need to beg. It simply allows. The river does not chase the rain, it knows the rain will come when the time is right. The tree does not chase the sun, it simply stands and grows, and the sun finds it. In the same way, money finds the calm mind. It does not come to those who panic, it comes to those who stand firm in quiet faith. When you embody this truth, your relationship with money transforms. Forever, it stops being a chase and becomes a dance, a flow, a natural rhythm between your inner calm and the abundance that has always been waiting for you. Worry creates invisible barriers that stand between you and the abundance that is already seeking you. When the mind is filled with fear, it begins to build walls made of doubt, uncertainty, hesitation, and panic. These walls are not seen with the eyes, but they are felt in the energy. They create a fortress of resistance around your blessings, and money cannot enter where fear is guarding the gate. Every worried thought is a brick in that wall. Every moment of anxiety about how things will happen, or when they will happen, or whether you are good enough becomes another layer of separation between you and what is already yours. Worry is like a fog that blocks the path. It does not stop the abundance from existing, it only stops you from seeing it. When you live in worry, your energy begins to send signals that say, I do not trust the flow, I do not believe in the timing, I am afraid. And the universe reflects those signals back like an echo. It mirrors the frequency you hold. Money cannot respond to fear because fear is like a locked door. No matter how much abundance is waiting outside, it cannot come in. If the door is bolted shut, a worried mind tries to solve everything through force, through pressure, through panic. It tries to control outcomes through overthinking. It tries to push when what is really needed is to open the door. Worry whispers lies. It tells you that if you stop worrying, everything will fall apart. It convinces you that worry is a sign of responsibility, that it proves you care. But in truth, worry is powerless. It does not add anything to your life. It does not create solutions. It only multiplies the weight you carry. It only amplifies the noise in your mind. It turns small concerns into heavy storms. And in those storms, you stop hearing the quiet whispers of intuition, the gentle pull of guidance, the soft nudge that shows you the next step. The person who lives in worry is like someone standing in front of a locked gate, holding the key, but afraid to turn it. They keep staring at the gate, wondering why it will not open. They keep pushing against it with force, never realizing that the key to abundance is not more worry, but less. The calmer your mind becomes, the more the gate loosens, the more the walls dissolve, the more space opens. Abundance to enter. When you begin to release worry, the energy around you begins to shift. The tension fades like smoke. The fog lifts, the path becomes clear, and what was always waiting for you begins to flow toward you. Worry creates a heavy vibration, and money is a light frequency. It flows freely. It moves like air, like water. It needs open space. It needs trust. It needs faith to travel smoothly. When your heart is heavy with fear, your energy becomes like a dam, and the river of abundance cannot pass. It does not mean the river disappeared. It only means your dam is in the way. The moment you begin to let go of the fear, the moment you decide to trust the flow, that dam starts to crack, the water begins to pour through, and prosperity begins to reach you. Fear always tries to convince you that control is the answer. It tells you that if you just worry more, if you think harder, if you panic enough, somehow everything will fix itself. But the truth is that worry never creates solutions. It only blocks them. It makes you blind to the opportunities that are already around you. It distracts you from the divine timing that is always working in your favor. It keeps your eyes on the problem instead of the solution. It keeps your heart in tension instead of allowing it to open. When you quiet the worry, something powerful happens. You begin to hear the guidance that was always there. Your intuition becomes clearer. Your mind becomes lighter. Your steps become softer, and your path becomes brighter. Realize that the abundance was never far away. It was simply waiting for you to stop building the walls and start tearing them down. Worry is like a voice that speaks the language of lack. It repeats over and over, what if it does not work? What if I fail? What if I am not enough? And every time you give power to that voice, you make the walls stronger. But the moment you speak the language of trust says, I am not alone. Trust says, I am safe in the flow of divine timing. And money listens to trust, not fear. When your mind is calm, doors that were invisible start to appear. Paths that were hidden become visible. Solutions that seemed far away start knocking at your door. You stop being the one who runs after money, and you become the one money runs toward, because you no longer push it away with fear. You no longer Block it with doubt, you become an open channel, a place where abundance can flow freely. The invisible walls created by worry are not permanent. They can crumble the moment you decide to trust. They can dissolve the moment you choose peace over panic. Every breath of calm, every thought of faith, every act of letting go is like removing another brick from the wall. Until there is nothing left to separate you from what is already yours, worry cannot build anything real. It can only build illusions, but trust builds bridges, it builds openings, it builds space for abundance to enter. And so, when the mind chooses calm over worry, when it decides to breathe instead of panic, when it turns the key instead of pushing against the gate, the flow begins to move without force, without struggle, without resistance. Because abundance was never the problem, the walls were the problem, and worry built them, but faith tears them down, and when those walls fall, money flows like a river straight into the life of the one who dares to trust. Faith commands the flow of money, because faith speaks in a language that abundance understands. When your mind is calm and your heart is steady, faith takes the lead, and it becomes the voice that calls in every opportunity, every resource, every blessing that was already meant for you. Faith is not weak or passive. It is strong and unshakable. It stands still when everything else trembles. It declares what fear denies. It opens doors that worry keeps locked. Money does not respond to begging. It does not respond to desperation. It responds to authority, and faith is that authority. Faith is not loud, but it is powerful. It moves silently, yet its impact is undeniable. When faith is present, money hears its name being called with certainty, and it comes. Faith is like a bridge between invisible and the visible. It connects the unseen abundance that already exists with the physical world you live in. It takes what is promised and brings it into what is real. Worry tries to grab, but faith receives. Worry tries to control, but faith allows. Worry screams, but faith whispers, and it whisper moves mountains. When you believe deeply, without fear, without hesitation, without doubt, the energy around you shifts. Your frequency becomes stable, and money, like a river, begins to flow in your direction. It cannot resist the pull of true faith, because faith does not just ask, it knows. When your heart is anchored in faith, you stop chasing after outcomes, you stop asking how or when, you stop begging for signs. You stand in quiet power and declare that what belongs to you is already on its way. Faith does not rush, faith does not panic, faith does not need proof to believe. It knows the proof will arrive because the promise is already real in the unseen. Faith is the blueprint that abundance follows. Money is not attracted to chaos. It is attracted to calm certainty, the kind of certainty that radiates from a soul rooted in faith. Think of faith as a command, not a plea. When you say, I trust the flow, you are not asking for permission, you are stepping into ownership. Faith tells the universe, I am ready, and the universe answers yes. Faith tells the flow, come, and the flow responds, because faith and abundance are made of the same energy. Both are steady, both are fearless, both are certain. Fear, like static on a radio, it disrupts the signal, but faith clears the noise and allows the message to travel without interruption. Money listens to the frequency of belief, not the noise of fear. If your inner world is filled with worry, you send out mixed signals, sometimes yes, sometimes no, sometimes maybe, and money gets confused. But when faith stands tall, it sends a clear single signal, a signal that says, I am ready, I am open, I am certain. And certainty is irresistible to abundance. Faith is not about waiting passively. It is about standing powerfully. It is about acting as if the blessing had already arrived, and when you act like it has already arrived, it does. Faith turns closed doors into open pathways, because it does not see lack, it only sees supply. It does not see it only sees possibilities. It does not see failure. It only sees divine timing. It knows that everything is working behind the curtain of the visible world, and it does not need to pull the curtain down to trust what is happening behind it. A worried mind needs proof to believe, but a faithful mind believes, and then proof comes. Money moves toward faith, because faith creates safety, faith creates trust, faith creates an energetic home where prosperity can settle without fear of being pushed away. When you live in faith, your energy is stable, steady, grounded like deep roots in the earth. Opportunities sense that stability and are drawn to it. Money senses that energy and moves closer without resistance. Faith is not about ignoring reality. It is about shaping reality with belief. It is about choosing the higher truth over the temporary noise. When you speak from faith, your words carry weight. They do not tremble. They do not beg. They declare. They create. They build. Faith does not whisper uncertainty. It whispers power. It says, I know this is mine. I know the way is made. I know the supply is flowing. And that knowing is magnetic to money, because money is not looking for shaky hands. It is looking for hands that know how to receive. It is not looking for desperate hearts. It is looking for hearts that trust when your faith is strong. You stop chasing money and you start calling it in, not with force but with alignment, not with pressure but with power. Faith does not try to control the timing because it trusts that the timing is already perfect. Faith does not try to manipulate the how because it knows the how is already in motion. Faith stands like a mountain, unmoved by storms, calm, steady, certain, and money flows like water around that mountain, not because the mountain moved, but because the water recognized its strength. Faith is the key that unlocks the flow. When fear locks the doors, faith opens them. When doubt builds walls, faith tears them down. When worry creates confusion, faith brings clarity. And in that clarity, opportunities appear, resources multiply, and money flows without strain. When you live from faith, you are no longer asking, can it happen? You are declaring it is happening. And that declaration is what calls abundance in. Faith commands money, because faith mirrors the nature of abundance. Both are infinite, both are fearless, both exist beyond time and space. When they meet, they recognize each other like old friends, and the flow becomes natural. It becomes inevitable. Faith is not about hoping. Faith is about knowing. And when you know deep in your bones that you are supported, provided for, and guided, money cannot help but come because it always obeys the voice of faith. Divine timing requires trust because money does not respond to panic. It responds to alignment. It responds to the energy of someone who knows that everything unfolds at the right moment, not a second too early, not a second too late. When the mind is calm, it trusts that the flow of abundance is perfectly timed, even when the evidence has not yet appeared on the surface. Worry tries to control the clock. It tries to force the seed to grow faster than its season. It taps the ground impatiently, asking, when, but divine timing does not bow to panic. It listens only to trust. When you trust divine timing, you stop measuring your worth by what has not yet arrived. You stop comparing your journey to others. You stop pressing against doors that are not yet meant to open, and you start resting in the knowing that what is meant for you will arrive exactly when it is supposed to. Trust turns waiting into preparation. Trust turns delay into alignment. Trust turns silence into a sacred space where the next blessing is being formed. Panic tries to build before the foundation is ready, but trust allows the foundation to be laid, so the structure can stand. The calm mind is powerful because it does not just wait, it aligns, it listens, it prepares, it receives whispers of guidance from places worry could never hear. When you are calm, you can sense the rhythm of life like a tide that rises and falls with precision and grace. And you learn to move with that tide, not against it. Worry thrashes in the water, but trust floats and is carried effortlessly to where it needs to be. Divine time is not about luck, it is about alignment with a larger flow that already knows where every opportunity is waiting. Money does not respond well to rushing energy. It avoids the vibration of desperation because desperation says, I don't believe it will come in time. But trust says, I know it is already on its way, and that knowing creates space for it to arrive without resistance. Think of planting a seed. When you plant it, you do not dig it up every day to see if it has grown. You water it, you nurture it, and you trust the soil, you trust the season, you trust the unseen process under the surface. Panic would dig it up again, and in doing so, it would destroy the very thing it hopes to grow. But trust allows it to bloom. When you trust the timing of abundance, your energy softens, your grip loosens, and you become magnetic to everything that belongs to you. Trust does not rush the river, it flows with it. Panic stands in the water trying to push the current. Trust lets the current carry it where it needs to go, and because of that trust, the journey becomes smoother. Opportunities appear at the right time, connections are made in perfect sequence. Money flows in ways that are effortless because it no longer has to fight through your fear to reach you. Divine timing is precise even when you cannot see it. The opportunities that seem delayed are often aligning behind the scenes like puzzle pieces, fitting together in the exact order they are meant. To the people you need to meet, the resources you are meant to receive, the doors you are meant to walk through are being positioned perfectly. Panic can't see this, it only sees absence, but trust sees beyond absence. It feels the pulse of what is coming. It stands in faith, even when the evidence is invisible. When the mind is calm, it becomes a safe space for money to arrive. Money moves towards steady energy. It does not like to be forced or rushed. It flows to where it is welcomed, and trust is the ultimate welcome. Trust is like an open door that says, I know you will arrive in the right moment. I do not need to chase. I do not need to fear. I do not need to doubt. I only need to prepare to receive. Panic creates noise. It clogs the channel. It screams so loudly that the gentle voice of divine timing cannot be heard. But trust is quiet. It listens, it waits, it acts with wisdom, not desperation. And in that stillness, divine timing moves closer because it recognizes it. Reflection in your energy. You and the flow become one rhythm instead of a tug of war. The person who lives in trust understands that divine timing does not forget anyone. It does not overlook anyone. It does not lose track. It is never late. It is never confused. It is exact. Panic makes you believe you are behind, but trust reminds you that you are right where you need to be. Panic tries to rush blessings before they are ready, but trust knows that early fruit spoils, but ripe fruit nourishes. Money comes to those who trust the process because they no longer send out signals of fear. They no longer block the flow with impatience. They create a space where money feels safe to land. They have learned that delay is not denial. It is preparation, it is alignment, it is perfection in motion. When you embody trust in divine timing, you stop pulling at the flower, trying to make it bloom faster. You simply water it and stand in faith because you know it is already growing beneath the surface. This energy is magnetic, it is powerful, it is certain, and money recognizes that certainty. It moves toward it. It aligns with it. It arrives at the exact moment it is supposed to because divine timing is never late. And the calm mind is always ready to receive. Calmness sharpens intuition, because when the noise of worry fades, the whispers of guidance become clear. When the mind is still, it can hear what a frantic mind cannot. It can sense direction. It can recognize opportunities. It can feel the gentle pull of next right step. Intuition is like a soft current flowing underneath everything. It never shouts, it never forces, it only guides. And a calm mind is like a clear lake reflecting the truth without distortion. Worry is like a storm on that lake. It stirs up waves, it mud is the water, it makes it impossible to see what was always right beneath the surface. When you are calm, ideas flow like rivers. They do not have to be forced. They rise naturally from the silence inside you. Solutions that seemed out of reach begin to appear. Connections that were hidden begin to reveal themselves. The path that was clouded becomes visible. Intuition is not found in chaos, it is found in clarity. A worried mind tries to control every detail, but a calm mind allows itself to be guided step by step with quiet confidence. And it is this guidance that leads to the opportunities that bring abundance. Money flows to those who act with clarity, not confusion. When your intuition is sharp, you move with precision. You make decisions from a place of inner knowing, not fear. You sense the timing, the people, the opportunities that are meant for you, and you move in harmony with them rather than chasing what isn't aligned. Calmness tunes your inner ear to the frequency of divine direction. It opens your eyes to signs that worry would have missed. It gives you the quiet courage to trust those signs, even when logic doesn't fully understand them. Intuition is like a compass that never fails, but it can be drowned out by the noise of panic. Panic makes you second-guess yourself. It makes you question your worth. It makes you chase paths that are not meant for you. But calmness builds trust in your own inner voice. It allows you to follow subtle nudges that lead to real breakthroughs. Abundance often comes not from loud moments, but from quiet guidance that only a calm soul can hear. Think of intuition as a map rolled up inside of you. When you are anxious, the map stays hidden. It cannot unfold in shaking hands, but when you are calm, the map unrolls, and you can read it clearly. You begin to see the way forward, even if the entire road is not visible. You don't need to see the whole staircase. You only need to sense the next step. Calmness gives you that ability. It turns confusion into direction. It turns fear into quiet power. It turns struggle into flow. Money often comes through doors you didn't even know existed. And intuition is the one that shows you those doors. It whispers, turn here, not there. It nudges you to make a call, to start something new, to step into a room at the exact right moment. But if your mind is loud with fear, those whispers are drowned out, and the opportunities pass unseen. A calm mind catches These whispers, like a net catching light, it receives them fully and acts on them effortlessly. When you are calm, your energy changes and your environment responds. People trust someone who radiates quiet strength because that energy signals clarity. It signals that you are tuned in to something deeper. Then appearances and opportunities naturally flow toward clarity. They are drawn to someone who can sense direction. Even when others are lost, calmness makes your intuition magnetic. And that intuition makes prosperity find its way to you. Panic tries to make every decision at once. It demands certainty. It demands proof. It runs in circles and ends up standing still. But calmness allows decisions to unfold step by step. It listens, it trusts, it moves lightly. And because of that movement, opportunities meet you halfway. Intuition bridges the gap between where you are and where abundance is waiting. When the mind is at peace, it becomes a fertile ground for inspired ideas that can open new streams of income, ideas that can connect you with the right people at the right time, ideas that can position you in the flow of money instead of standing outside it, knocking at the door. Those ideas are not born in panic, they are born in stillness. They rise from silence like gold rising from the earth. Calmness is not emptiness, it is the space where intuition breathes. And so when you choose calm over fear, you are not becoming passive, you are becoming powerful. You are not giving up control, you are gaining true direction. You are not waiting blindly, you are listening wisely. Intuition is your greatest ally in calling in abundance, but it only speaks clearly when the storm is silent. A calm mind is the key that unlocks its voice, and when that voice speaks and you follow it, money does not need to be chased. It simply meets you where your faith and your intuition have led you. When you begin to understand the silent yet powerful conversation between your mind and the energy around you, something extraordinary begins to happen. You start to realize that the world was never against you, it was always responding to the frequency you were emitting. When your thoughts are laced with fear, doubt, and lack, the energy that moves through the universe bends itself to mirror that back to you. But when your thoughts become seeds of faith, trust, and abundance, the entire universe starts aligning in your favor, as if it has been waiting patiently for you to claim what was already yours from the beginning. Every single person walking this earth is a magnet. You are a magnet. Your energy is constantly pulling toward you experiences, people, opportunities, and circumstances that match the dominant vibration you carry. So if you live in fear, the frequency of fear returns. If you live in gratitude, abundance is drawn in like a river flowing to the sea. This is why the shift is not outside, the shift begins within you. When you start changing the inner dialogue from I can't to I can, from I am not enough to I am more than enough, the frequency of your energy transforms, and energy always attracts energy of the same kind. This is why it is said that miracles are not exceptions, they are natural outcomes of aligned energy. Think about how a tuning fork vibrates when another tuning fork of the same frequency is struck. It doesn't need permission, it doesn't doubt itself, it simply responds because the frequencies match. In the same way, when your inner energy is vibrating at the frequency of wealth, success, joy, love, and faith, everything on that frequency naturally gravitates toward you without force, without struggle, without begging or chasing. That is the power of alignment. It doesn't require pushing against the current, it requires becoming the current itself. Many people spend their lives trying to control the outer world, but the real power is in mastering the inner world, because when the inner world is aligned, the outer world has no choice but to rearrange itself accordingly. You can't expect prosperity to flow into a mind cluttered with scarcity. You can't expect love to flow into a heart full of bitterness. You can't expect clarity when your energy is scattered in worry, fear, and self-doubt. So the work is not about changing the outer landscape, it is about clearing the inner field. It is about allowing the light of your true energy to shine unhindered. It is about remembering that you are not separate from abundance. You are made of the same energy that creates galaxies, stars, oceans, mountains, and miracles. So why would abundance be something foreign to you when it is woven into the very fabric of your existence? This is where faith becomes the bridge. Faith is not about seeing, it is about knowing. Faith is the silent language that speaks to the universe and says, I am ready. Faith doesn't beg, it commands. Faith doesn't tremble, it stands tall, because it understands that energy never lies and energy always returns to its source. When you move with faith, Your energy sends a clear signal to the universe that you are ready to receive, not tomorrow, not next week, but now. The universe doesn't respond to words, it responds to energy, and your faith is the frequency that unlocks doors you thought were locked forever. You may have noticed how when you are in a state of joy and excitement, everything seems to flow easily. People respond better, opportunities appear, coincidences line up, and it feels like the world is dancing with you. This is not luck, this is alignment. You stepped into the current of your natural power, and everything else adjusted to match you. On the other hand, when you are trapped in fear, negativity, or doubt, everything seems harder. Things break, delays happen, doors close, and the world seems against you. But it's not the world that has changed, it's the frequency you're broadcasting. Energy doesn't understand good or bad, right or wrong. It only responds to vibration, so your responsibility is to consciously choose the vibration that reflects the reality you want to live in. When you start your day with gratitude, your vibration rises. When you affirm your worth, your frequency sharpens. When you imagine abundance already flowing to you, your energy becomes magnetic, and this magnetism is felt across time and space. It pulls into your reality everything that is a match to it. That is why so many spiritual masters say change your energy, change your life. The key is to stop seeking outside what can only be created inside. Stop chasing and start attracting. Stop doubting and start believing. Stop waiting for proof and start being the proof. When your energy radiates abundance, wealth, love, and joy, it becomes impossible for the universe not to respond in kind. Just as the sun cannot help but shine, just as gravity cannot help but pull, energy cannot help but return what it receives. The alignment is the law, the faith is the key, and your energy is the bridge. So let this moment be the moment you decide to tune your energy to the frequency of everything you desire, not through force, not through fear, but through certainty, through trust, through inner alignment, because what you want wants you to. It is simply waiting for you to meet it on the right frequency. When you step into the awareness that your thoughts and emotions are not just random impulses but powerful frequencies shaping your entire reality, everything begins to change because energy does not negotiate. Energy mirrors your state back to you like a flawless reflection. When your inner world is filled with worry, doubt, and lack, the energy you emit becomes cloudy and chaotic, and what flows back to you mirrors that same chaos. But when your inner world is steady, calm, confident, and abundant, the energy becomes clear and magnetic, and everything you desire begins to move toward you like a tide that cannot be resisted. This is why inner work is not a luxury. It is the foundation of everything you are trying to build in life, because your outer world is nothing more than the canvas on which your inner energy paints its story. So many people spend their lives trying to fix the outer conditions, thinking, if only I had more money, if only I had more opportunities, if only I had more luck, then everything would fall into place. But this is a reversal of true power. The outer world is never the source, it is only the effect. The real source is inside of you. It is the frequency of your energy, vibration of your belief, the intensity of your certainty. And when that frequency is raised, everything on the outside rearranges itself in response, not out of magic, but out of energetic law. You do not chase what you are in alignment with, you attract it naturally and effortlessly. It is like tuning a radio. When you turn the dial to a specific station, you don't beg the station to come through, you simply match the frequency, and the sound flows clearly into your ears. The station was always there, you just weren't tuned in to receive it. In the same way, abundance, love, joy, wealth, health, and opportunities are all around you every moment, but you must tune your energy to the right frequency to receive them. When you tune to fear, you hear the frequency of fear. When you tune to faith, you hear the frequency of abundance. The power lies in the fact that you are the tuner, not the signal. You don't need to control the universe, you only need to align with it. And this is where the shift happens, not in the outside world, but in your inner vibration. You are not a victim of random events, you are a co-creator with the energy of life, and your vibration is the brush that paints the picture. Every thought you think sends a frequency, every emotion you feel amplifies that frequency, and the universe responds with perfect precision. So if you want to change your outer reality, the first step is not in the action, but in the alignment. Action taken from a place of fear only multiplies fear. Action taken from a place of doubt only multiplies doubt, but action taken from faith, from certainty, from a state of inner abundance, turns ordinary steps into unstoppable momentum. That is how people transform their lives, not by fighting against the current, but by flowing with it. This is why faith is not something passive. It is the most powerful frequency you can embody, because faith does not question. If it will happen, faith knows. It has already happened. Faith walks into a room as if the miracle has already been delivered. Faith speaks with authority because it is already aligned with the result. And when your energy vibrates at that level, life bends itself to meet your certainty. Think about how the sun does not struggle to shine, it simply is, and the world receives its light in the same way. When you are aligned with your energy, your abundance does not need to be chased, it radiates effortlessly. And the world responds to that frequency without resistance. People feel it, opportunities sense it, doors open without you banging on them, and life starts to feel like a flow instead of a fight. The reason this principle works so powerfully is because energy is the root of everything. Before any physical manifestation exists, it begins as energy, thought, emotion, vibration. Everything you see in your life right now is the harvest of seeds planted through your previous energy patterns. So if you want to shift your future, you must start planting new seeds today, not in panic, not in doubt, but with unshakable faith that what you desire is already aligning with you. This is not about pretending or forcing positive thoughts. This is about truly embodying the energy of the reality you want, even before it arrives. It is about feeling wealthy before the money arrives, feeling loved before the relationship appears, feeling successful before the world recognizes it. Because when your energy becomes the match, the universe has no choice but to deliver the reflection. So right now, in this very moment, decide to stop fighting the outer world and start aligning your inner energy. Decide to release the frequencies of doubt, fear, and lack, and step fully into the vibration of faith, abundance, and joy. Because when you do that, everything that is meant for you will no longer need to be chased. It will find its way to you like rivers finding their way to the ocean, without effort, without struggle, without force, because that is the law of energy and alignment. Every single moment of your life is a conversation between your energy and the universe, whether you are aware of it or not. Your energy is speaking louder than your words, louder than your actions, louder than any plans you try to make. Because it is the purest signal you emit, and the universe responds to it with flawless accuracy. When you are restless, worried, and anxious, your energy vibrates at a level that communicates resistance and struggle, and without fail, that is what reflects back to you. The opportunities feel delayed, doors feel locked, the path feels heavy and uncertain. But when your mind becomes still, your heart becomes steady, and your faith becomes unwavering, your energy sends out a signal of clarity, a signal that says, I am ready, I am aligned, I am open. And the universe responds by bringing everything that matches that clarity. It is not about how loudly you demand, it is about how deeply you believe. It is not about how hard you try, it is about how purely you align, because the calm mind does not beg, it commands, not through force, but through certainty, and certainty is magnetic. It does not chase after what it wants, it draws it in with the power of unshakable belief. This is why the most extraordinary breakthroughs often arrive in moments of quiet, not chaos, in moments of faith, not fear, because the calm mind creates a clear path for money to find its way to you. Think of money not as a random force, but as energy itself. It does not like confusion. It does not thrive in chaos. It flows where there is clarity and direction. When your energy is frantic, your vibration is scattered, and scattered energy cannot hold abundance. But when your energy becomes centered, balanced, and rooted in faith, your vibration becomes strong and focused energy is like a beacon that draws in wealth effortlessly. This is the power that so many overlook. They run through their days trying to force results, pushing harder and harder, thinking the answer lies in endless action. But energy does not respond to pressure, it responds to power, and power comes from alignment, not effort. True abundance begins when you stop chasing and start radiating. It begins when you stop speaking from fear and start thinking from certainty. Because when the signal becomes steady, the response becomes swift. The calm mind has the ability to shift timelines because it is not operating from panic. It is operating from presence. It is not begging for what it wants. It is already living in the vibration of having it. It knows money is not something to be grasped at desperately. It is something to be received with grace when energy is right. And that is why those who master their inner world always seem to attract with ease what others struggle to grasp. The moment you breathe deeply and decide to trust your energy shifts, your frequency rises. And in that rise, doors that seemed invisible begin to appear, solutions that were hidden become clear, people who can help are drawn to you not by accident, but by energetic alignment. This is not a trick, this is a law. Energy recognizes energy, and calm energy is the strongest frequency of all because it does not doubt its own power. The mind that is still is not weak, it is unstoppable because it stands in the vibration of I already have it. It doesn't waver, it doesn't fear, it doesn't plead, it simply knows. And that knowing is what changes everything, because the universe cannot resist the frequency of certainty. When you become calm and centered about money, you stop repelling it with fear and start attracting it with grace. You stop seeing it as something far away and start realizing it is already in your orbit, waiting for your signal to align. So every breath you take in calmness, every thought you anchor in faith, every moment you stand firm in trust becomes a silent call that money cannot ignore. In this space, you no longer need to push, you no longer need to prove, you simply radiate and receive. And this is where the true flow begins. The calm mind is the doorway through which abundance enters, not the storm of panic, not the noise of fear, but the stillness of power, because in stillness your energy is at its most magnetic, and money finds its way to you with ease and certainty, like a river flowing toward the sea, drawn not by force, but by natural law. When you decide to shift from a restless state to a calm state, something profound happens in invisible world around you. The entire frequency of your energy begins to transform, and that transformation sends a signal that is so clear, so powerful, and so magnetic that money begins to move in your direction, not because you are chasing it, but because you are aligned with it. A calm mind is like still water. It reflects light perfectly, it receives signals clearly, it transmits energy without distortion. But a worried mind is like a stormy sea. Its waves are loud, its signals are scattered. And in that noise, the opportunities and abundance that are meant for you cannot find their way through. Every thought of fear sends a ripple that pushes what you desire further away. But every thought of faith creates a pull that draws it closer. And the more you live in that vibration of calm, trust, the more the flow of money begins to match that energy. Like a mirror, money follows clarity, money follows certainty, money follows stillness, because those frequencies are not frantic, they are stable. And stability is magnetic. When your inner world becomes calm, the energy that once pushed money away begins to reverse itself now. Instead of repelling, you are attracting. Instead of doubting, you are allowing. Instead of chasing, you are receiving. And this is where everything begins to accelerate. What once felt distant begins to feel near. What once seemed impossible begins to unfold. Naturally, doors open without you knocking, paths appear without you struggling, and the resources you need begin to line up in ways that feel divinely orchestrated. This is the hidden power behind faith. It does not need to be loud to be strong. It does not need to scream to be heard. The calm mind whispers with authority, and the universe listens because calm energy carries a frequency of mastery, and mastery does not chase, it attracts effortlessly. Think about how nature itself operates. Flowers do not chase the bees, yet the bees always find them. Rivers do not chase the ocean, yet the ocean receives them. Trees do not chase the sunlight, yet the sunlight nourishes them. They exist in their natural state, and in that state, everything they need flows toward them. Abundance was never meant to be hunted. It was meant to be aligned with. When you reach the level where your calmness is stronger than your fear, your energy stops sending mixed signals, and money stops getting lost trying to find you, because now your vibration, like a lighthouse, steady, clear, unwavering, sending out the message: I am ready, I am open, I am aligned. And the universe cannot resist responding to that. The power of the calm mind is not passive. It is active in the most profound way, because calmness is not weakness, it is strength in its purest form. It is the energy of I know it is done. It is the energy of I trust the process. It is the energy of I no longer need to prove, I simply allow. And that energy has a pull stronger than any desperate chase could ever create. The moment you embody calmness, money begins to rearrange its path toward you. It finds you through unexpected opportunities. It finds you through sudden clarity. It finds you through aligned people and perfect timing. And you begin to realize it was never running away. It was simply waiting for you to stop sending signals of chaos and start broadcasting signals of faith. When you calm the noise inside, the universe amplifies the abundance outside, and everything you desire starts to gravitate toward your energy like iron to a magnet, not because you forced it, but because your calmness made the path clear and the journey effortless. This is how money moves toward those who are aligned. This is how it finds the calm mind and chooses to stay in its orbit. There is a moment when everything shifts, not outside but inside, and in that moment the chase ends and the flow begins, because a calm mind is not a weak force, it is a silent storm of power. When your energy is calm, it no longer sends signals of fear, desperation, or scarcity. It sends out a message of certainty, strength, and faith, and money responds to that message like a magnet responding to metal. It moves toward the vibration that is steady. It moves toward the signal that is clear. It moves toward the frequency. It does not waver. The universe was never designed to respond to panic. It was designed to respond to power, and power lives in stillness, not in chaos. Think about it. When you're worried, your thoughts scatter in 1,000 directions. Your energy becomes inconsistent. Your faith becomes thin, and money feels far away. But when your mind is steady and calm, your energy stands tall like a mountain, unmoved, unshaken, unbroken. And that stillness sends out a pulse that calls everything you desire toward you. This is why calmness is not just emotional control. It is spiritual alignment. It is energetic clarity. It is the frequency that tells the universe, I trust, I believe, I receive. And when that frequency is constant, the flow of abundance becomes unstoppable. Money no longer slips through your fingers because your vibration no longer pushes it away. You stop standing in your own way and instead become a vessel for everything that was already waiting to reach you. The world teaches people to hustle louder, push harder, run faster. But real wealth, real alignment, real flow comes when you learn to stand still in your power, when you stop begging for what is already yours and start allowing it arrive in perfect timing, because the calm mind understands that it is not chasing a dream, it is aligning with what is already created in the unseen. Money loves clarity. It loves certainty. It loves a steady vibration, because chaos and fear are frequencies it cannot trust. When your mind is calm, it is like opening the gates of a dam. The flow that was once blocked begins to pour through effortlessly. Your calm energy becomes the bridge between what you desire and its manifestation. And that bridge is strong enough to carry wealth in ways that seem miraculous to those who are still chasing faith. The heartbeat of this calmness, faith, is the unwavering inner knowing that what belongs to you is already moving toward you. Faith does not rush. It does not doubt. It does not panic. It simply allows, because it already knows the outcome is secure. And in that knowing, money finds a safe place to flow. Calm mind does not ask how or when. It simply stands in the vibration of it is done. And that vibration is the most powerful signal you can ever send, because the universe does not respond to panic. It responds to power, and nothing is more powerful than calm faith. So stand still in your energy, breathe in the truth that you are already connected to everything you desire. Let your calmness become your magnet. Let your faith become your foundation. Let your energy speak louder than your fears. Because when the mind is calm, money has no choice but to find its way to you effortlessly, perfectly, and powerfully.